Let's be real, Mario is the face of Nintendo and has been for many years now. In fact, he may be the most recognizable video game character of all time. And with the way things have been going for Nintendo the past few years, the company is lucky this statement is true. This superstar plumber has come quite a long way since his birth as Jumperman in 1981, and remains just as popular as ever. However, he's always had a unique cast of friends and enemies that have helped him climb the steps to video game superstardom. Unfortunately, not all these characters have made it as far as he has. Some have been discarded, abandoned, or even replaced with faces or personalities more fitting for the Mushroom Kingdom. So I wanted to take a look at just 5 of these characters that are no longer with us in the Mario universe to pay tribute to some or to discuss their potential return. I won't go as far back as the franchise's oldest games, but rather explore characters that have appeared at least as recently as the 90s. For those of you lucky enough to be alive during Mario Party's earlier years, you may remember this little tyrant. Koopa Kid, or Koopa Kids, depending on which game you're playing, was Bowser's first Mini-Me-like character before Bowser Jr. came along and stole his spotlight. Koopa Kid appeared in Mario Parties 1 through 4 as Bowser's party-crashing minion, though in the first couple entries he was known as Baby Bowser. The importance of his role in these games varied, though by Mario Party 5 and 6, Koopa Kid became a playable character. He was a fun, smaller, and more rambunctious version of Bowser, so why get rid of him? After smaller appearances in Mario Party 7 and Advance, this character just disappeared. Koopa Kid and Bowser had actually referred to each other as father and son several times during the course of the Mario Party series, but it seems Bowser Jr. has taken over this role as heir to Bowser's throne, and in a bigger way too. As much as I liked him personally in the early Mario Party days, it doesn't seem likely that Koopa Kid will be returning anytime soon. Bowser Jr. would never allow it. Rest in peace, Koopa Kid. Bowser is to Donkey Kong as Koopa Kid is to Donkey Kong Jr. That pretty much explains the story for this next one. Another son living in his legendary father's shadow, soon to be pushed aside by another, DK Jr. first appeared as the protagonist in his own NES game, entitled Donkey Kong Jr. In this sequel to the original Donkey Kong, Jr. was forced to save his father from Big Bad Mario himself. After rescuing his father from the dirty hands of the plumber, Jr. was well on his way to becoming a star, appearing again in several Donkey Kong games on earlier Nintendo platforms, and even received an invitation to join Mario and friends in Mario Tennis on the N64 and in Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. Things seemed to be going well for this character, that is, until Diddy came along. DK Jr. was slowly swept aside by not another child of DK's, but a buddy of his instead, which says a lot about what kind of father DK is. DK Jr. has had cameos in several modern games, though he's rarely noticed or given more than a 2-second shout-out in the background. He seems to have been forgotten, cast aside by a more hip, guitar-playing, tournament-winning primate. For now, Diddy seems to have filled the little monkey-shaped void in Nintendo's heart, but perhaps someday, Jr. will come out of hiding and challenge DK's pal to a duel. But let's be honest, Diddy gon' win.
Wow.
DK Jr. isn't the only primate DK and Diddy have left in the dust. In fact, there are 3 others left behind to watch Donkey Kong and his pal Diddy take on the world. The DK crew consisted of the aforementioned DK and Diddy, as well as the goofy orangutan Lanky, the quick and nimble Tiny, and her cousin, who got the shortest end of the stick, the mighty but lovable Chunky. The latter 3 have never had such a prominent role in a video game since their origin game. The best game on the Nintendo 64, by the way, Donkey Kong 64. Relax guys, I'm completely biased. I loved that game. While Chunky Kong has vanished completely since this game, Tiny and Lanky Kong have both appeared in much smaller roles throughout the last decade and a half, though they eventually evaporated into thin air without a trace. They last appeared in the forgettable, slightly less than mediocre racing game Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii. Whether or not this game destroyed their reputation completely remains a mystery. The cancelled GameCube game Donkey Kong Racing alternatively might have been a step in the right direction for these Kongs. These characters— wait a second, there was a cancelled Donkey Kong Racing game for the GameCube? A sequel to Diddy Kong Racing for the N64, one of the console's coolest and most fun racing games that has no business being cancelled? Are you kidding me? Anyway, these characters were all very likable, with unique personalities that could have easily fit into at least more Donkey Kong games. Instead, they were upstaged by other Kongs like Dixie, Cranky, and Funky for some reason. I'll just have to go on crossing my fingers they'll make a comeback someday. I'll be honest, I've never played Super Mario RPG, but many others have, and these others have wondered, what in the world happened to these characters? This game was quite unique compared to the rest of Mario's games. It played similar to Final Fantasy, carrying Mario and friends through a thick story and close-up battles. Aiding Mario on his journey were not only Peach and Bowser, but Geno and Mallow. Who, you ask? Good question. And who exactly is Smithy, the game's antagonist, and who are those in his gang? All good questions. Apparently Nintendo wants you to forget because the company hasn't revisited these characters since the game's release in 1996. The end of their partnership with Square Enix is of course a significant reason for the absence of these characters trapped in this forgotten universe. Therefore, the game's original characters are still owned by Square Enix, but there's always been talk of somehow bringing them back to Nintendo. Many fans and critics hold this game in high regard, and even 20 years later, still hope to see some sort of sequel. Unfortunately, a sequel doesn't seem likely, and neither does the reappearance of many characters from the original. We may not know the whereabouts of the others, but we know Geno was caught and skinned alive for greedy Smash Bros. Players to slap onto their Mii fighters. I'm just kidding, that's really morbid. I suppose true fans will just have to continue asking Sakurai to add Geno to the next Smash roster. I'm sure he'll appreciate more of these requests. Yes, I know FLUDD is still glued to Mario's back for his down special in Smash Bros, but that doesn't mean he's not dead. FLUDD may be a machine, but in Super Mario Sunshine, he and Mario share the bond of true friends. He aids Mario on his quest, not just with his gizmos and gadgets, but he actually talks to Mario, offering personal advice and opinions about the matters at hand. He cares about Mario and does his best to help him succeed. It's understandable why he hasn't exactly appeared in other games. He's a machine. He can't walk, and his water shooting abilities don't exactly apply in other Mario games. But look at him on Mario's back in Smash Bros. He's lifeless, dead inside, used only when Mario needs his abilities, which is rare. No thank yous from the plumber, and no, hey, remember when we were friends? He doesn't even have the decency to lay FLUDD to rest in peace and switch out his down special for something more currently relevant. Yes, I know putting him to rest may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but what I'm really getting at here is, bring FLUDD back for Super Mario Sunshine 2, or more realistically, an HD remake so we can see FLUDD again in his true glory.
The vacation starts now.
Perhaps we'll see these characters again someday, or perhaps not. Either way, they've at least been a part of one great game or another, and have made many gamers happy. I may have treated Mario harshly in this video, but I'm truly excited to see what Nintendo holds for him and his games in the future, especially with the NX release creeping closer and closer. If you like this video, feel free to like it and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Erickson Gaming for more discussions, tournaments, playthroughs, and much more video game content. Thanks for your support, guys, and thanks for watching.